The film opens with Olga, a mother who moves into a new home with her daughter, Vera. The house holds an ominous aura, and an old chest left behind by the previous occupants becomes the centerpiece of the narrative. Inside the chest, Vera discovers a diary filled with cryptic entries, descriptions of torture, and ominous predictions. Initially dismissed as a peculiar artifact, the diary soon begins to reveal disturbing truths. As Vera becomes increasingly drawn to the diary, strange phenomena begin to occur in the house. Lights flicker, eerie noises echo through the halls, and Vera's behavior changes, oscillating between curiosity and defiance. The diary seems to influence her actions, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. The diary's dark history. The diary recounts the life of Martín Muñoz Araujo, a man subjected to unimaginable torment. It details methods of torture, medical experiments, and chilling reflections on death. As Olga and her friend Carlos delve deeper into the diary, they discover that its entries are too vivid and precise to be fictional. They uncover records of victims who seem to have been erased from existence. There are no digital footprints, no public records, and no evidence of their lives beyond the diary's pages. Supernatural connections. Vera begins to exhibit signs of a connection to the diary. She claims to hear whispers and sees fleeting figures in the shadows. Her fascination with the artifact deepens when she starts drawing pictures that eerily resemble the scenes described in the diary. Olga, increasingly alarmed, contacts a graphologist who analyzes the handwriting and suggests that the diary's author is still alive or that the writing is being updated in real time. A fractured family dynamic. The story also delves into the strained relationship between Olga, Vera, and Vera's father, Victor. Vera resents her father's new partner, Mariana, and accuses her of neglect and incompetence. This tension is heightened when Vera injures herself while under Mariana's care. The injury coincides with entries in the diary describing similar wounds, leading Olga to suspect a supernatural link between the diary and her daughter. The diary's prophecies come true. Carlos and Olga attempt to track down Martín's family, hoping to uncover the truth about his fate. They locate a restaurant owned by Maria Araujo, who identifies herself as Martín's ex-wife. However, their conversation is cut short when the diary reveals that Martín is still alive, trapped in a state of perpetual suffering. As the diary's influence grows, it begins to predict future events. One chilling entry describes Martín's exact time of death, aligning with real-world events. The diary also implies that Vera's involvement is more significant than anyone realizes, suggesting she may be a reincarnation or vessel for Martín's torment. Climactic revelations. The film's climax centers on Olga's desperate attempts to destroy the diary and sever its hold on Vera. Despite her efforts, the diary appears indestructible, its entries continuing to manifest new horrors. Olga confronts Vera, who admits to hearing Martín's voice and feeling compelled to act out scenes from the diary. The final scenes depict a harrowing confrontation between Olga, Vera, and the entity tied to the diary. The chest begins to emit an otherworldly glow, and shadows swirl around the house, culminating in a chilling revelation: Vera may be an unwitting participant in a cycle of violence orchestrated by the diary's creator. Ending: a haunting legacy. In the film's ambiguous conclusion, the chest is sealed, but its power remains. Olga decides to leave the house with Vera, but as they drive away, Vera whispers a line from the diary, suggesting its influence is far from over. The diary's unfolding power. As Olga and Carlos continue investigating the diary, they uncover its disturbing ability to bridge the past and present. Through flashbacks interwoven with the present-day narrative, the diary reveals its chilling origins. Written by someone with an intimate knowledge of pain and suffering, it seems to detail both past atrocities and future tragedies. Each diary entry becomes increasingly prophetic, describing moments in Vera's life before they happen. When Vera cuts her hand, an entry already describes the incident, including the exact time and nature of the injury. This unnerves Olga, who begins to question whether the diary is shaping events or merely predicting them. Olga grows desperate to protect Vera, but the diary exerts a strong pull on the young girl. Vera insists she hears voices urging her to read the diary, and she begins drawing unsettling images that align with its entries. The imagery of torture and cryptic symbols suggests the diary's connection to an ancient, malevolent force. A web of connections. The diary mentions several names, Martín Muñoz Araujo among them, and details their horrific ends. Carlos and Olga dig deeper, cross-referencing the entries with historical records and finding eerie correlations. They track down Martín's ex-wife, Maria Araujo, who reacts defensively and denies knowing anything about the diary. Maria's denial, however, rings hollow. Her behavior suggests she knows more than she's letting on, and her cryptic warnings only deepen the mystery. Carlos speculates that Martín's suffering may not have been physical alone but part of a broader psychological experiment tied to the diary's origins. Family drama and growing tensions. The supernatural mystery is paralleled by a tense family drama. Vera's father, Victor, struggles to connect with his daughter while balancing his new relationship with Mariana. Vera feels betrayed by her father's choices and lashes out, often using the diary as an emotional outlet. Mariana's attempts to care for Vera only strain their relationship further. After the knife incident, Olga accuses Mariana of negligence, escalating the conflict. Meanwhile, Vera grows increasingly manipulative, using the diary's influence to control those around her. A chilling scene underscores this dynamic when Vera declares that Mariana cannot take care of me. The diary's presence amplifies Vera's rebelliousness, and she begins to exploit the fragile family bonds. The diary's curse. As the diary's true nature comes to light, Olga and Carlos realize it is not merely a record of past events but a tool of manipulation. The diary seems to thrive on human suffering, feeding off the fear and chaos it creates. Carlos theorizes that the diary's writer, likely a woman, based on the handwriting analysis, was driven by a twisted obsession with control and pain. The entries reveal an almost clinical understanding of human psychology, describing methods of torture and their effects with unsettling precision. The diary also introduces the concept of cycles, suggesting that its victims are trapped in a loop of suffering that repeats across generations. Vera's connection to the diary hints that she may be the latest in a long line of individuals ensnared by its curse. The chest secret. The chest containing the diary becomes a focal point as Olga and Carlos attempt to destroy it. However, the chest seems impervious to physical damage, and every effort to remove it from the house fails. It always reappears, as if bound to the property and its inhabitants. Inside the chest, Olga discovers other objects tied to the diary's history: photographs, notes, and items belonging to past victims. These artifacts paint a grim picture of the diary's legacy, with each item representing a life destroyed by its influence. The diary's creator. Through additional research and the help of a graphologist, Carlos and Olga deduce that the diary's creator was a woman who lived a seemingly ordinary life. The graphologist notes peculiarities in the handwriting that suggest a motor disability, possibly the result of an injury or illness. This detail adds another layer to the mystery, as it implies the writer overcame personal challenges to create the diary. Carlos speculates that the woman's fixation on suffering stems from her own experiences, which she projected onto others through the diary. The graphologist's analysis also reveals that the entries are recent, contradicting earlier assumptions that the diary is decades old. A frightening revelation. The turning point comes when Carlos and Olga confront Maria Araujo again. This time, they discover that Martin is alive but in a state of perpetual agony. His existence seems tied to the diary, and every moment of his suffering is documented in real time. In a haunting scene, Olga reads a diary entry that describes Martin's death down to the exact second. When the predicted time arrives, Martin dies, confirming the diary's horrifying accuracy. This event shakes Olga to her core, reinforcing the idea that the diary is not just a passive record but an active participant in the events it describes. The climactic confrontation. The final act unfolds in Olga's home, where the diary's power reaches its peak. Shadows move independently, objects levitate, and Vera begins speaking in a voice that is not her own. The chest glows ominously, and the house seems to close in on itself, as if the diary's influence is consuming everything. Olga makes a desperate attempt to destroy the diary, but her efforts are thwarted by an unseen force. In a moment of clarity, she realizes that the diary can only be neutralized by confronting its creator. However, the diary's creator remains elusive, leaving Olga with no clear path forward. An ambiguous ending. The film ends on an ambiguous note. Olga decides to leave the house with Vera, hoping to escape the diary's influence. However, as they drive away, Vera clutches the diary, which she had secretly taken from the chest. She whispers one of its entries, her voice overlapping with that of an older woman, hinting that the diary's curse has not been broken. The final shot lingers on the house, now abandoned and shrouded in darkness. The chest remains in the center of the room, its glow dimming but not extinguished. The film closes with the sound of pages turning, suggesting that the diary is waiting for its next victim. Themes and interpretations. El Diario, 2024, explores themes of grief, control, and the cyclical nature of trauma. The diary serves as both a literal and metaphorical representation of unresolved pain, illustrating how past horrors can shape the present and future. The film's ambiguous ending reinforces its central message: some forces cannot be defeated, only endured. By leaving the house but taking the diary, Olga and Vera symbolically carry their trauma with them, highlighting the difficulty of breaking free from the past. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.